the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Monday morning. We are glad that you have joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. It's Brett and it's Faith here on a Monday, a gloomy Monday. I'm already tired of the cold and the gray and just ready to see some sun again, Faith. But good morning to you.
Good morning. Yeah, I think we've had enough of the gloominess and clouds over the last week or so.
Yeah, in Birmingham, it was a good week for us with the Super 7. Just to be frank about it, the games weren't very good. That had nothing to do with us. We did our job. They were lopsided games. One game, I think, the Coosa Christian Lynette game was the only one that was really competitive. I mean, I guess you could say the 6A game, Saraland fought back a little bit in that one, but for the most part, that game was kind of over with early too. So, but anyway, it was gloomy all week up there with the weather. It continues on, so maybe we'll get a change of that. Alex Golish will have a press conference today. I will be in attendance for that. Looking forward to going over and, hearing what he's got to say. I'm sure he'll talk about this recruiting class and then moving forward. But we've got a lot to talk about here this morning on the show.
Yeah, no question about it. There's a lot going on, a lot circulating, and definitely going to be nothing less than interesting on a Monday morning.
All right. So we'll start with kind of recapping the recruiting class and the transfer portal, the names that let's just be clear about something that when you look at the transfer portal, the portal doesn't technically open until January the 2nd. So nobody's in the portal yet. Now, people can indicate their desire to be in the portal, but nobody is technically in the portal yet. So the ones that we have heard, we obviously went over some of those last week. But since then, I think Perry Thompson, since the last time you and I were on together, Perry Thompson has entered the portal and Jackson Arnold has entered the portal. I don't think anybody is surprised by that. I mean, that wasn't any type of earth-shattering news that Jackson Arnold may have intent to get in the portal, but and then it was speculation on Perry Thompson on what he was going to do just because of the production or lack of opportunity for Perry Thompson since he's been at Auburn.
Yeah, that and him posting, pictures of Lane Kiffin back to comments on social media and, just definitely it looked like messing with people to getting going in the transfer portal and everything. So yeah, not entirely shocked about either of those, but not upset either.
So, if you look at Perry, obviously was a big deal when Hugh Freeze recruited him to Auburn, with his pull to Alabama and being a big in-state wide receiver, part of the Freeze 4. And, really you've only seen action out of two of those. You've seen Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons even limited there. Bryce Kane, not much at all, little to nothing. Perry Thompson really wasn't getting on the field and really wasn't an option for Hugh Freeze until Horatio Fields went down. Mm-hmm. So, here's the deal. What was he doing or not doing to give himself a chance to get into the lineup? And, he hit a stretch there where I remember there was a week or two there in the season where everybody felt like he was coming on, or maybe it was even before the season where he was having some good scrimmages. Maybe that's how, I can't remember. I think it was scrimmage. I think it was coming into the season, in fall camp when they were doing some scrimmages. He had a couple of good ones, and everybody felt like, oh man, he's taking that next step, and he just never did. And for whatever reason, again, it's hard to place judgment on anybody's performance in this past regime's offense. I mean, in fairness to everybody, who the heck knows who could do anything?
I agree. It is hard to fairly judge everyone and how well they can get evaluated, because I don't even know what the evaluation from, Coach Freeze and the I guess former offensive staff would be on a lot of these offensive guys. You know what I mean? Like, there just wasn't any progression that you saw from anybody, and it stinks for them because I'm sure everyone has some sort of different idea going into a school thinking they're going to get developed and all these different things, and that sucks for them.
That's why, to me, if you really want to be at Auburn and you really like Auburn as a player, why wouldn't you embrace this change? Because what you were in sure as hell wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I would have been more apt to get in the portal if Hugh Freeze had been retained. If I was an offensive player coming back going, well, why do I want to go through this again? Why do I want to? I've heard all the coach speak and all the rah-rah stuff and, oh, everything's going to be okay. But why would I want to stick around and listen to another year of, oh, we're gonna break out, or, oh, you're gonna get your opportunity, or, we're about to turn the corner?
Yeah.
To me, this would be a breath of fresh air. You've got an offensive-minded guy that has put up unbelievable numbers everywhere he's ever been as an offensive coordinator or wherever, in whatever role he's ever been in. And why wouldn't you look at that and go, man, now that's what I want to be part of? But again, the ship may have sailed for some of those guys. And let's just say this, will there be any more of that wide receiver room that gets in the portals, more of the focus? Again, if Perry Thompson on January 2nd does get in the portal, okay, who else is getting in the portal should be the concern, I think, for this staff.
I think that's been a concern for a lot of people of, all right, what's going to happen? I know last week Cam Coleman and his family met with Alex Golish, and they were talking and having some discussions about how to keep him on the roster. And it's obviously broke that a lot of SEC schools are highly involved in trying to get him to come to their school, all those different things. And, I don't know how much of that is true, but I know that he did meet with Alex Golish along with his family to talk about his future at Auburn. And, I think that's what I guess needs to be done in order to talk about how he's going to get used in the future and if it's really going to happen, because we heard that throughout the beginning of the season from Hugh Freeze, but obviously that wasn't executed. So, if I were them, I would have kind of, and when I say them, I mean, Malcolm, Cam, Horatio Fields, Eric Single, everyone on that receiving end, Bryce, everyone that, okay, what is going to be used? How is this going to work for us moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. Glenn said you got schools in the playoffs worried about January 2nd. Yeah, no question. I think there's nobody. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you went 11-1 and in the playoffs, or if you went 5-7 like Auburn did for the 823rd time in a row, it feels like. Everybody is susceptible to this portal, and players getting pulled or poached or whatever. Nobody is safe. Nobody's safe. And So that's what you look at. You want to do everything you can to secure your roster, but it's a little bit more, I guess, worrisome for teams that are struggling. Teams that have good players on 5 and 7 teams versus teams that are 11 and 1 that have good players. Because if you're on an 11 and 1 team in the playoffs, you're probably and you're a major part of that, then you feel pretty good about your situation, unless somebody just comes in and offers something stupid where you go, okay, I can't not take that. But at 5 and 7, you're looking around going, I really like it here, but I want to win. And I want to see, and I haven't been able to do that since I've been here. And I've got only a couple of more years left in my college career, and I want to make the most of them. Do I want to stick around for a rebuild? Do I want to stick around for another staff trying to figure, and me learning that and all this kind of stuff? Although when you get in the portal, you got to do the same. You know, if you're leaving your current program and you're going to another program, you got to learn all that over. So I'm saying there's a lot of things to weigh, but if you're on a 5 and 7 team, it's a little bit more concerning as a coaching staff to retain your better players because people are using that as ammo. They're coming out like a 5 and 7 team trying to go poach a player off an 11 and 1 team. What are you saying? Hey man, we need you. You can make the difference for us. We can do blah, 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 or flip it around and 11 and 1 team going, hey man, you're the piece that could get us to the national championship game next year. And you're down there, can't even go to a bowl game. Well, how about join us? I mean, it's just an easier sale.
Yeah, no question. I think you're 100% right. And I think it's tough in this day and age because of all of the NIL, that sort of thing, because I mean, like you said, if you're not even getting to a bowl game, you're not even having a winning season, and teams are calling you or hitting you up, and they're either in the playoffs or had, a really good season, something like that, where, hey, we still have all this money and we're just a few pieces away from getting there or winning. Why don't you come here?
Right. And let's talk about this bowl situation. But first, before we do, let's talk about some of our partners because they're the best in the business.
Cincy Green, for air that's cool and clean, call on Cincy Green. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. With how much you are going to be, having used your systems all throughout, this fall, which, now it's winter. You want to make sure you have a reliable unit, and carrier is going to be the unit for you. And so while you can save lots of money with Cincy Green and use them, they're great people. You want to know who's working inside your house. So call on Cincy Green.
Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama. And man, those guys are so great. They were great to us all week in Birmingham. We went and hung out with them in their suite at the Super 7 in between games. Sloan and Charles, didn't see Jay, but for a brief second. But just the great hospitality and, just great people. And they were up there because they have so many school systems and municipalities they work with, and they're huge. And you need to call on them. If you got a big budget project coming up, multi-million-dollar project you're planning, or hundreds of thousands of dollars, they will be the program management company you need to hire. I'm telling you, go check them out, scoutpm.com. Go see them in person. Go call them. Tell them to come to your place and help you get your plans together. They will make sure it's done correctly.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn for everybody that wants to go watch basketball or any other good games that are happening. Go to Bunkers. They have some of the best deals in town. And so when, you're going over the weekend or Wednesday through Saturday, whenever you go, you want to make sure you're going to Bunkers, because I can promise you can't find some of those deals anywhere else in downtown Auburn. And when I say they have some of the best deals, it's unbelievable how they're even in business because they're so good.
They are so good. And it's long overdue for us to be back over there. We've been on our world traveling tour. Here lately, all right. Tubbs feels like Malcolm's the problem. Let's see. I've been reading that there were coaches meetings with players last week. Do y'all think Coach told Perry he doesn't fit? No, I don't. I wouldn't think that. I don't know that. Not enough time really to kind of look at and maybe see what somebody's fit really is in a system. I guess you could go back and look at film or whatever, but for the most part, I think these are individual decisions. And again, nothing's official till January 2nd, but these are the speculative, and this is what has been, I guess, made public knowledge through back channels and all that kind of stuff on certain guys. I want to go back to this bowl thing. And, one thing I'm tired of, Faith, I'm tired of being on everybody's highlights during the bowl selection and the college football playoff show where obviously Georgia and Alabama and Oklahoma and all the teams that made the playoff, that it just seems that Auburn's always in there. They get plenty of airtime, just as the team they're getting run over. That's what I'm sick of. I'm sick of looking down after another season and going, oh, 5-7. Oh, you declined a bowl bid. Oh, why did you decline it? Well, first of all, it didn't make any sense to go to a bowl right now because you're in transition. I mean, who's going to coach the team? I mean, you're still trying to finalize your staff, and you got players that are already in off-season mode. I mean, what are you going to do? Go play App State in the Birmingham Bowl and lose that? And then what positive message does that add to all of this? Not a thing. But a list of 5-7 teams or losing record teams that declined bowl bids. Here's the deal. You didn't legitimately get a bowl bid in an era, by the way, in an era where they hand out bowl bids like candy corn on Halloween. All right. Everybody gets one if you want it. And the candy sucks, so a lot of people don't even want it. So bowl bids have gotten to that point. But Auburn can't even get a legit bowl bid because they're 5-7. They can't have a winning record. The only reason they got a bowl bid or bowl invitation is because they went down the list of names of everybody else that declined. And you finally get down to Auburn and go, oh, well, do y'all want to go? No, not really. So, I mean, that's where we are. We're in an era of 12 teams getting in a playoff, and where bowls are like, I mean, they're out here like monopoly money just thrown around, and you can't even legitimately get one of those. That's where this program's been.
My question is, if Hugh Freeze was still the head coach, would he have accepted the offer to go to the bowl game?
I think without a doubt.
That was his goal at the end of the season, was to make it to the bowl game.
And he would have spun it somehow like, oh, well, see, we're getting there.
Well, he would have also
recognized. No, here's what he would have said, Faith. He'd have go, everybody recognized how really good of a team we had and all the bad breaks that went against us, and that we were all in all these one-score games against 4 teams or whatever in the playoffs. And we were in one-score games and all these Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. We were right there. And then even Vanderbilt, 10-2. I mean, we went to overtime with them. I mean, it would have been the laundry list and sale job of the century of why Auburn would have been a great pick for any bowl game because of how great they competed, but just things didn't work out for them in these games. Can't you hear it? Did I do a good job of impersonating him?
You did. Okay. I needed a little bit more monotone and you to look down. But the other thing is I think you would have lost your mind, Brett, because I can attest that, and maybe even fact check, you might have even said it on the podcast, but you said either at the beginning of the season or before the season started, please, I don't want to go to the Birmingham Bowl. You were like, if there's a bowl that I don't want to go to, a bowl game, it's the Birmingham Bowl. And I think you yourself would have, I don't know, quit, like just totally have lost your mind. Your brain would have exploded had Auburn gone to the Birmingham Bowl.
We were destined to go there. We were on a runaway train to get to Birmingham at 5-7 with Hugh Freeze. But maybe that was the saving grace that Alex Golich gets here. they throw this around. You know, Florida State turns down a bowl game. How about Notre Dame throwing a middle finger up, going, we're not, we don't really want to go play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl against so-and-so. And look, I'm not here to Notre Dame. They make their own bed. Hey, how about getting a conference and quit whining about everything? I mean, that's kind of the deal. And I know they played for a national title last year. But nobody cares. I mean, you move on to the next year, and I thought Clark Lee handled things with grace about his, like, if anybody in their history of life wanted to get into the playoffs, it was Vanderbilt, because they've never ever been sniffing something like this. And to go 10-2 and to lose to Texas and Alabama, Clark Lee gets up there and goes, yeah, I mean, we had our chances against both those teams, and the only people we can be mad at is ourselves for not making it. He was not blaming the system.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a lot of respect for that, because I think that was really nice to hear a coach take accountability for something. And like you said, they're a good football team, and
right.
So what that Auburn was, close to beating them too, had their chances as well. But I agree with you. And we were talking about it this past week a lot because of, people that we know and their parents having gone to Vanderbilt and seeing how well they've had the success. But, I think Vanderbilt is one of those teams that you've got to watch out for the next coming years, because with NIL and all these different things and where its location is, it's going to be a team that it's going to be intimidating to play them. It's going to be a really, really well-coached team.
Very well-coached team. I mean, everybody's like, well, what's Clark Lee going to do when Diego Pavia leaves? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, as long as he keeps really good quarterback play at Vanderbilt, and they want to spend good money on that position, which they should if they want to be competitive, just like anybody should.
And I'm sure they did, flipping that 2026 commit or quarterback from Georgia to Vanderbilt. He was the number one quarterback in the class.
So, one of the things that you look at is, as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
I mean, that the mindset has changed in college football. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at the way things kind of play out, I mean, I don't know that. I mean, he seems to be handling himself pretty well, and he built this up to where it is. Yeah, I mean, you can say you catch lightning in a bottle with Diego Pavia, but that's fine. So did Auburn. Auburn caught lightning in a bottle with Cam Newton. They're sitting there at 31 in the country. Auburn's, I mean, when you look at recruiting classes, I mean, obviously the flip of Jared Curtis, who you were referring to, is the big deal. I mean, Georgia and everything they've been doing, and then you flip their top guy, the number 3 quarterback in the country, number 1 player in the state of Tennessee, in Jared Curtis. So, yeah, I mean, and they've got some other really solid players coming in. So that kind of segues me into where Auburn is with this recruiting class. 18 commitments, ranked 41st. And I'm not trying to be negative on a Monday, but I'm just going to be honest. We just need to be honest about this. You're going to have to really get after it in the portal. This is one of the lowest ranked classes Auburn's had in a long time. And look, I love Jaquez Wilkes, but let's be honest. Jaquez Wilkes has been playing 1A football. And he and I mean, you and I and a couple other people at Super 7 were talking about the learning curve of coming up and how soon is he going to be ready to play in that position. Then you flip down Shadarius Tootle, Wilson Zaire. Auburn's got 3 4-stars in this class. I think Auburn got some really good players. I think Deshaun Spencer is maybe a little underrated, but he's small. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say. He's 170 pounds. Now, he showed out in the 6A championship game. He's the reason that Saraland was even close in that game.
Absolutely.
But when I go down through here, I see a lot of raw guys. I don't see a lot of immediate impact guys. So in the short term, Auburn's got to really shore up this roster, and they got to go hit some home runs in the portal, Faith. I mean, it's just not a knock on any of these kids. I'm just saying from a class as a whole, it's not where Auburn's even been the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's one of the lowest ranked classes we've seen in 25 years at Auburn.
That's something that I've been talking about with a lot of people that, you know, with how different everything is, utilizing the transfer portal, how important that can be. Because again, developing guys from being 17 or 18 and playing 22, 23-year-olds, so much easier to go out there and get a 19, 20-year-old that's already has some experience, maybe at a smaller school or maybe somewhere else that didn't get the playing time on the field necessarily that they are going to get somewhere else. But they do at least have some experience going up against some of these guys and being around college coaches and getting that kind of coaching too. So if Alex Golish can use the transfer portal in the way that it looks like he's going to need to with how small this class is, it's so much different though in the SEC than when he's at USF trying to get guys out of the transfer portal there, because the SEC is just, it's harder. I mean, it's literally just so much more aggressive than competing with all the other teams in the SEC versus when you're at South Florida.
Yeah, no doubt. So, here's another thing that you can get caught up with, and I know this has been different. Ohio State and Indiana, the number 1 and 2 teams in the country. Look at the vast difference of rosters. And we do get caught, like the discrepancy in these two rosters is mind-boggling. When you want to talk about, because look, let's be honest, Auburn's been at the top in the blue chip ratio list. We talked about it this summer. What's it been getting Auburn? Not much. Coaching does have to step in at some point. You just don't go out and win recruiting wars and stack your roster full of top-ranked guys and just go, oh, well, we've got all these guys. We're just going to win. Ohio State had 67 blue-chip guys on their roster. How many did Indiana have?
7.
So 60 versus 7. 67 versus 7. A 60-player discrepancy. 60 players. And Indiana just beat them head-to-head. Now, again, portal and stuff, whatever. It is what it is. And, I mean, that to me is a telltale sign of what's been going on at Auburn. And, again, Indiana, you can say schedule, strength schedule, and all this kind of stuff. I ain't listening to that crap no more. Auburn's been 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7 with much better rosters than some of the teams they've been playing, and ain't been able to get it done. So, we can keep saying the word, or he could keep saying the word close and all this kind of stuff. But, and I hear what you're saying, WK. It's kind of like a team of destiny. But bottom line is, this has been going on for 2 years now. They made the playoffs last year. If you want to remember. Now, they didn't play very well in that first round game, and they've still got to show up again this year. But I mean, I'm telling you, they've done what they needed to do with a lot lesser than some of these other teams. And so there's a lot of people whining about the playoffs, and teams didn't. Notre Dame's one of them. Alabama was sitting there sweating it again, whether they were going to get in, and they got in, and then Miami jumps up and all this kind of stuff. I mean, what's Auburn's roster look like compared to Indiana's? Weren't even in the same stratosphere. as far as results on the field. So I'm just saying, it is time to put the excuses not to bed, under the bed. Ain't buying that crap no more. Either just put up or shut up. That's just kind of where you got to be. And I'm like you. You talked about Alex Golesh the other day. Love the energy and love what he's bringing and the no nonsense. But you know what, man? Here's my message to Alex Golesh. You're next man up. And so you got a tall task ahead of you to get this thing going in the right direction. And Auburn fans just want to see a program that can win football games again. That's just where this is.
And I think he knows that too. That's basically what his opening statement was when he came to Auburn was he knows that the fans are well deserving of a winning team, and especially knowing how much talent you have on the roster. I don't know, it's just disappointing to having watched all of this throughout the last 5 years and just seeing, I don't know how many players you do lose and do go off and do something great because Auburn has literally driven them away.
They have. They really have. By the way, speaking of Indiana, was that not the weirdest post game? I texted you, like, I said, if you didn't see that, you got to go back and watch that.
When we watched it live, I said to Reese, I said, "Oh my gosh," I said, that was the most awkward, cringiest moment I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, "Faith, like, come on, he's just really excited, give him the
Wow.
benefit of the doubt." Made him go back and rewatch it. And I said, "Please watch this and watch every hand gesture of grabbing the microphone, him trying to get his buddy to do it when they were doing the ceremony." I said, "Just watch the whole thing again." And he goes, "Okay, yeah,
Never mind.
that was kind of weird." I was like, "Yes, that was."
Well, then
He
somehow
goes, "They've never won before, Faith. He doesn't know how to act. Okay, let him have his moment." I said, "All right, you know what?"
Kirk Signetti almost upstaged the weirdness. Like
Yeah.
the most awkward, like he didn't know how, good for them though, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
What it would be to have that feeling, to know what that felt like to actually win. And I can't even come on here and make fun of the Alabama. Like there's people on Twitter, like on the I've got to defend Alabama tour to death. Like they have spent since the college football playoff show, they're from then till right now on Twitter countering everybody's, I guess whatever you want to say against Alabama. They're firing back like, no, we deserve to be that. You got in. So and you get a rematch with Oklahoma, and we'll kind of see how that plays out. I think for the naysayers out there, for the group of 5 teams, the James Madisons of the world, the Tulanes of the world, do they really deserve to get a spot in this playoff legitimately? When you look at some of these teams that didn't make it, do you really think they deserve that opportunity? Should they have their own playoff? I mean, we've all talked about this. And then how fast, I think I just saw that comment come through. How fast are we accelerating toward a 16-team playoff? I mean, like that's where this thing's going to keep going.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's go back and talk about the JMU, Oregon, and Tulane, Ole Miss. Tulane and Ole Miss already saw each other earlier this year. Ole Miss stomping on Tulane 45-10. And
now they don't have a coach.
Yeah, now you're getting a new here's the thing.
Neither does the battle of interim coaches.
I am just so beyond shocked at how the coaching situation of these teams in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
JMU, Tulane, Ole Miss. Like what?
Isn't that the goal, to fight to get to the playoff? And then, you get And you finally, that's what you do all this for, right? To get your team to go take another job somewhere. And I get it. Money obviously is the only thing that determines what anybody does in life anymore. Like,
Everybody but Ole Miss, taking another job. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin just decided to leave.
right.
Just bye. I'm not going to do anything but, ask to coach the playoffs after I hop on a jet and not say anything.
Right. Not blaming anybody, Ed. I'm just asking if they look. It is what it is. I'm not giving excuses for anybody that didn't make it or that did make it. The committee makes that decision. Again, some people whine and complain. Others man up, like Vanderbilt. If I'm Vanderbilt, I'm sitting there. Sarkisian with 9-3. I mean, it's like, come on, man. At some point in time, you got to take a step to the side and go, okay, we just didn't do what we needed to do. But who would you rather see, Old Dominion, or would you rather see, not Old Dominion, James Madison, 6-1, half dozen. Like James Madison, or would you rather see Notre Dame? Would you rather see Notre Dame, Oregon, or would you rather see James Madison, Oregon? I'm just
That's not
saying.
even like a question.
So
I don't know.
Daryl, not comparing everybody to Indiana. I'm giving them credit for what they did, and they've done it for 2 years. What the hell has Auburn done for 5? So that's just the way it is, man. Auburn people need to quit trying to find ways to come up with excuses of why they ain't been worth a dang. Okay, for 5 years. And it pains me to say that. I don't know. Who do you take? You think Auburn could beat Indiana right now? Obviously, we'd find a way to lose by a touchdown with the previous coaching staff. So I don't know what the future is going to do. I'm just calling it what it is. It sucks that I have to get on here and say this. We can't even draw a legit bowl bid right now, and we're worried about criticizing a team that's undefeated. To me, that's where we've been falling short. And I'm not comparing anybody. It's just the bottom line is that they've made the playoffs twice and we ain't ever sniffed it. So I think we need to kind of take a step back there.
Tubbs, that is not what I love that he was.
That's not even close to what we're talking about.
No, that's absolutely not, because I do really think that was awesome and amazing that he did that. I think a lot of people, why
did you pull the one line out that you think would start some kind of controversy? Dude, it's if you didn't think that was weird, like nobody looks in the camera and screams. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Nobody grabs the microphone and screams like this. And
she held her cool so much better than I would have. If I was holding the microphone, I would have
just some of the unwritten rules by the time you're that age in college and done interviews that that's how you act. And look, congratulations on the emotion, man. Nobody's bashing it. It's weird. I don't care. You're entitled to your opinion. I just thought it was weird. Thought it was just but emotions kind of take on their own thing. So it is what it is. So
Jeff saying Notre Dame already has a clause stating next year if they're in the top 12, they must be in the playoffs. Here's the thing: is everyone in is the NCAA just getting pushed around?
And Alabama, here's the thing about Alabama. Let me put the disclaimer out there. Auburn hasn't sniffed the playoffs, so congratulations to all that made it. So we're just making an analysis of what we said. Alabama former players, a lot of them were mad at that performance SEC championship game. Mark Ingram, golly, the other one that was a running back that was at New England, name, I'm looking straight at him. Can't think of it right off the top of my head. We're like, no, man, no, I don't deserve to go. And, a lot of Alabama people, prognosticator, media people feel like they have to go on the self-defense tour of everybody taking shots at them on Twitter. Don't take shots, man. Just be glad that you got selected. Why do you feel like you got to go defend yourself with every little tweet out there? Why do you have to, like, you know that people are going to take shots at you because you were right there again. You lost 3 games. And look, I'm all about the SEC championship game, saying, hey, you earned a right to go play in that. It shouldn't penalize you to a point. I agree with that. Like when some sit at home and get to ride it out, I think that sometimes you look at that. You look back at Auburn back in 2017. I know it wasn't 12-team playoffs, but if you want to talk about the same thing, it was the same results. Both teams were 10-3. You look at it from that standpoint, and you go down the list. Both made the conference championship game. Auburn dropped to 7th from 2 when they lost to Georgia. Now, if they'd have been in a 12-team playoff, would have made it. Wouldn't have mattered. They would have dropped, but it wouldn't have mattered. But Alabama held their ground, is what I'm saying. They lost 28-7, whatever, and they stayed at 9 and got in. And you know what? Hey, is what it is. But I'm just saying, I don't think you should have to go on Twitter and defend yourself. Just say, hey, we got in. Sorry, y'all didn't. We didn't get in last year. That's kind of the way it is. So that's that. It's the playoffs are what they are. I'm just saying that I think when you look at the layout of the playoffs, which one of these – Texas A&M Miami should be fun. Alabama Oklahoma will be fun. It's a rematch. And the winner will get Indiana. So Oregon, James Madison, the winner will get Texas Tech, who, by the way, to me, is playing about as good as anybody.
Absolutely.
In the country. Texas A&M, Miami, the winner gets Ohio State, and Ole Miss, Tulane, the winner gets Georgia. If you're Georgia, you're like, man, you couldn't have gotten a better draw.
No question about it.
At the number 3 seed. Which seed would you rather be right now, the number 1 seed or the number 3 seed? Indiana would get the winner of Alabama, Oklahoma. Georgia gets the winner of Ole Miss and Tulane.
All right, let's talk about it, though, because last year, every single team that had the bye week
got beat,
laid an egg.
That's right.
So
let's see. That ain't happening this year. I'm calling that.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but it is funny that's what happened.
Ain't happening.
No, Brett, we haven't really talked about it though. I do want to know your thoughts on the SEC championship and what you thought of that game.
It just seems like Alabama offensively, just no running game at all. And I know Jam Miller was out, but even with Jam Miller this year, I know he's nursed a lot of injuries. He's been in and out. Just one-dimensional. And, it seems like no pun intended, a tidal wave of fan support for Ty Simpson and then not for Ty Simpson. For Ty Simpson, not for Ty Simpson. After the Florida State game, gosh, I can't believe we played this guy. What? Then he goes on a run, and then you kind of hit a little bit of snack. I mean, it's been a –
Same with DeBoer, though.
Do what now?
Same with DeBoer.
Yeah, same with DeBoer. I mean, but I definitely think him getting in the playoffs was huge for him. Can they get back and can they go to Oklahoma and get that win when Oklahoma went to Alabama and beat them earlier, just a few weeks ago? That's the question. Can they? And again, they deserve to make it, or did they not deserve to make it? It doesn't matter. They're in. Now, what are you going to do with it? What's going to change? Can they get healthy? Yeah, they can get healthier, whatever. But Georgia had to get over that hump of finally beating Alabama too. They had a lot of pressure on them, and then they came out, and I thought they did what they needed to do, and they really controlled the game. It really just felt like even the one drive Alabama had, it was kind of like desperation. You scored, and then Georgia comes right back down and scores again and pretty much finishes it off. So it was dominated by Georgia.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts?
No, I think you're 100% right. Georgia just had the one up on them the entire game, and
Yep.
you could tell that in every single play that happened that Georgia was
Yep.
just a better, stronger team.
Yep.
Hate them both.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, don't really care. Doesn't
Yeah.
really matter.
I mean,
The smell still, ugh, with that, both being in the same building, it's not where I want to be. All right, let's talk about some more of our partners here, and we'll close out with a little basketball talk before we get off. I want to welcome in a new partner here on the program, Alex City Marine, and we appreciate them so very much, man. They got a new line of those beautiful blackfin center consoles. I just went and stood on that boat actually a couple of weeks ago, and they're awesome. And they're hybrid boats for freshwater and blue water. You can go offshore. Then obviously you can stay inshore, so you can do a lot of different things. But they have great lines of Landau pontoons, whatever it is. Right here in Alexander City, boat rental, sales, service, and storage, 256-215-3474 for your next. But look, now's the time to be buying boats. You know, I know the weather sucks and it's winter, but here's when you get really good deals. You don't wait till summer when everybody's wanting a boat and everybody's out on the lake to go buy a boat. You need to buy it now and get it ready as you move forward. So glad to have Alex City Marine on board with us. We appreciate them so very much. We're going to be talking about a lot more of their awesome boat selections as we move forward. Talking about an awesome selection, the Cart Source. Easy Go, Cushman, Yamaha, Club Car, all right there on the lot to pick from. If they don't have whatever it is that you're looking for, I'm sorry that you're that picky. They can order it for you. And they can customize the wheels, the audio system, all that stuff. I can't think of a better Christmas gift. And even when Christmas comes and goes, this is the time to look at getting yourself a golf cart or somebody in your family because they're so durable. You can take them about everywhere. Like you can load it up and bring it to Auburn in the fall for tailgating and stuff and ride around. They're awesome. We see Cart Source stickers on all types of golf carts everywhere, don't we, Faith? So
all the time. They've got new and used. So if you don't want to buy a new one, they have used ones in great condition.
Absolutely great deals. Call them 334-231-2205. Go tell Harrison we sent you there from the Auburn Blitz.
Oliver Ross, for all of your holiday parties, whether they are work or even if they're weddings, Oliver Ross can bartend up to 20 to 20,000 people, which is crazy. So if you've got that holiday work convention, 20,000 people, Oliver Ross is going to be the professional licensed bartending service for you. Go check out their Instagram and everything because they've got some really, really cool pictures and just, I don't know, like things that show all the events that they've been doing recently because they've been pretty busy. So call in Oliver Ross. They're awesome.
Can you imagine bartending for 20,000?
You don't want Brett and I to do it.
Not at all. Not if you want everything to go well. All right, Russell Medical Center. You may end up at Russell Medical Center if we bartend 20,000. Russell Medical Center, one of the top 3 hospitals in the state of Alabama, partnered with the UAB healthcare system, which is the best in the world. I challenge anybody to go out there and find something better. Located in Alexander City, right on 280, small town healthcare, big time healthcare in a small town environment. Great doctors, great facilities. That's why they're rated one of the top 3 best hospitals in the world in the state. Well, I guess it would be the world too, because if you're connected to UAB Health, kind of adds you into that mix. But check out Russell Medical Center in Alexander City for all your healthcare needs. All right, let's see. Playoff hoodie, Rocky. I don't know. May try to go find a new one. Yeah, Jeff, new hoodie there. Bama Lives Matter. Okay. Oklahoma by 50. I don't know about that. Yeah, Roger, I don't know really what's going on other than he ain't a Heisman candidate. I can tell you that. So, not all his fault, but he ain't the best. So, but we can't say much over here either on our side. That's for sure. All right. I know we didn't talk a lot about Byron Brown, but it's I mean, I definitely think that's something that we'll talk about in the next several weeks as we move toward the portal opening with Byron Brown and him possibly ending up at Auburn and what that does for Deuce Knight and all that kind of stuff. And I've got my thoughts on that. We don't have enough time this morning. We'll save that for another time. And as a matter of fact, let's just save the basketball talk for later, Faith. We've got a lot to do today. And, you know, we've already been on for almost a little over 50 minutes now. So, again, basketball, not pretty against Arizona. I'll just leave it at that. We'll come back. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. We'll maybe lead a little bit with basketball. Man, just not a good look. Again, you're playing the number one team in the country, probably now that Purdue, but Auburn's looked terrible against two really superior teams. So what does that say? That you need to adjust your expectations for this team this year? Maybe so. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Faith, do you have anything else before we get out this morning?
No, I hope everyone has the best week ever.
Yes, and we have a busy week, so looking forward to it. Again, I'll be over at the Alex Golish press conference this afternoon at 1:00, and we'll give you some information on what he says. It'll be his first time to really meet with the media outside of the introductory press conference. So looking forward to that. So again, Auburn Blitz will be on at noon. Make sure all of you go out and catch that. And then Faith and I will see you tomorrow morning for another edition of the Auburn Blitz podcast.